Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And it's time for another daily dose of dismal Disney. You know, what we haven't heard about in a while is the situation with Reedy Creek. And now we're hearing about it because under a new proposal, Reedy Creek could get renamed and DeSantis could handpick the board.
Right.
And now this, to be clear, this has not been voted on yet. They're going to hear it, I think, Wednesday.
Yeah.
It has not been voted on yet, so Disney hasn't lost Reedy Creek yet, but they're definitely setting it up. We're going to talk about it.
Yep.
Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture, news, views, and rants, guys. Over, what are we at? 292,000 subs. Yay! Thank you for the support. Please subscribe, hit like and subscribe. We're trying to get to 300,000. That would be nice.
It would be nice.
While
we're at it, let's get to 1 million.
Let's get to 1 million too. Yeah, it's by the end of the month. Can we do that?
There you go.
Can we do that? Yeah. Okay, so we do talk a lot about Disney, having worked in and around the company in a variety of capacities, and we have been following the situation with Disney in Florida. Of course, Disney losing control potentially of Reedy Creek, which is their special district, which gives them all kinds of perks and autonomy, and that's been there since Walt Disney World was created. And you know, basically, Bob Chapek effed around and found out.
Basically.
You know, and that probably is going to give Nelson Peltz something to.
That's probably the best description I've heard.
He did.
Effed around and found out.
He effed around and found out. Now, after 50 plus years, Disney is potentially going to lose Reedy Creek, which is going to hurt them considerably. And of course, a lot of people are trying to say, well, it's going to hurt the taxpayers.
It's actually not.
It's actually not. But Disney, yeah, this is a huge loss for them if it happens.
So the biggest complaints they had about them taking away the district was people were worried that the tax burden would fall into the taxpayers. So they got clever and they found a way around that with this new proposal. So the bill, which is like, you know, HB 9B, I think is what it's called. They're putting this bill out to make changes. And basically the big takeaway is the Reedy Creek will be renamed to the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District. It'll still remain a district. Okay. But now the 5-member board will not be elected. The 5-member board will be appointed by DeSantis and confirmed by the Senate.
Yeah, and they're not allowed to put Disney family members.
Yeah, and the people on the board can't have been like in the theme park capacity for 3 years, and they can't be like family members. It can't be landowners, who the biggest landowner is Disney, or their relatives. Right. So it's basically trying to put the power back into. So they're going to vote on what's good for the people, not what's good for Disney specifically.
Yeah. See, the problem with Reedy Creek is. Honestly, it's been abused. I mean, it's been abused over the years. Disney basically had the opportunity to set up its own Vatican in Florida, kind of its own self-governing entity. And they've got a lot of breaks because of it, and they've been able to sidestep some stuff, I think, because of it.
Apparently they could use eminent domain before.
Yes,
and one of the big things people were upset about, too, is they were taking public money and using it to advertise their theme park rides and hotels and things that other parks weren't allowed to do.
Wow.
Actually, what breaks it down, WDW News Today, we're going to go there. They actually have a really good breakdown of this. It's really easy to follow, and we'll use this one because this is what they've gone through the bill and they've found out. I'll let that, you can even read this because you haven't got to see it yet, but this explains it very well.
Okay, so let's look at this because they've been following this a lot closer than we have. They're actually based in Florida, so you know, and it does impact the community in Disney. But yeah, Disney has had. I mean, before we get into it, I mean, they have had an unfair advantage against other theme parks because they basically had their own city down there.
Right, and this takes away a lot of those things that they could do before without oversight.
Right.
So basically, it's going to not dissolve the district, just change the name and the leadership of the district. They will have 2 years to use, they'll keep using the Reedy Creek name for 2 years as a fictitious name until they get all the paperwork transferred over to the new name, which is the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District.
Yeah, so they're not dissolving it. They're just going to basically take control of it.
CFTOD.
CFTOD. That sounds like something you get down there. I went to Florida and I came back with a case of Cifetide.
CFTOD.
Damn it, Mickey.
No.
Damn it. Board of Supervisors. One proposal aims to create a board of supervisors to govern the district. The board will consist of the 5 members, which you talked about. No one who has worked for a theme park complex any theme park complex has within 3 years will be permitted to serve, nor are landowners in the district permitted to serve.
Yeah, because Disney's the main landowner in the district, and their relatives aren't either. They talk about later. They're going to change it that they cannot have their own power plant.
I was just thinking no nuclear power, so Disney can't stockpile weapons in Reedy Creek anymore, right? No nuclear power. To own, acquire, construct, reconstruct, equip, operate, maintain, extend, and improve electrical power plants. They can't do it. They just can't do it.
Right now, yeah, because Disney keeps going doing their own solar energy systems.
Yes.
And they make them like the shape of a mouse and all that. They, the Mickey Mouse, silhouette.
Well, they own The Simpsons now. They can make Homer's power plant.
There you go.
Power plant. Oh,
they could make it an attraction. See, if it was under Disney, they could have saved money. They could have made an attraction and a power plant at the same time. But now that if this goes through, they cannot do that.
They can't do that, right?
Yeah.
2023 public utilities. Yeah. So this is what they can't do here. Procedure for changes to power and authority. The Board of Supervisors shall submit to the Governor, the President of the Senate, and the Speaker of the House of Representatives within 1 year after the effective date of this act and every 5 years thereafter a report that includes a review of all remaining powers and authorities, including herein, and any recommendations for consideration of eliminating said powers and authorities for potential repeal by the legislature. The bill also removes the district's power to redraw its own boundaries without a special act of legislature. Again, that was the eminent domain.
Yeah, I guess that they had the right to take things in certain areas. Now, here's what the big concern was. People were worried that if they dissolved the special district, that they would be responsible for like the $1 billion in taxes and debt that Disney owes. I guess it's debt and bonds. So they found a way around that by not repealing the district and renaming the district and putting the control of the district into the state. They do not have to remove that, so the taxpayers will not be liable. Disney will still be liable for its own debt.
Yeah, and that's an issue. That's a huge issue, and that was the thing that came up because immediately when this happened, it's like it's just gonna push all the tax burden onto the taxpayer, so vote against it.
So now that's completely resolved with this new proposal because they're still a district. It's just Disney doesn't run it.
Roads and transit. The bill removes the district's ability to charge tolls, the district's exclusive authority to acquire, construct, and maintain.
Manipulates by right.
Maintain public roads within the district, and the requirement that the district approve any location, design, and construction for access and connecting roads. State 530, 525, and Interstate 4.
So before Disney, because it was their own land, could just decide, hey, we're putting a road in, we're changing this road. And the road's been under construction for quite a while. Every time we would go down, it was like there was roads under construction.
Oh, my God, yeah. It was constant.
At least they maintained them well. I will give them this. They at least maintained them fairly well. And not all of them. Some of them were kind of crap. Yeah. But they were mostly maintained pretty well, though. I mean, Disney paid for it themselves.
Airports and recreational facilities. Newly reformed district would no longer have the power to operate certain types of facilities, such as airports, civic centers, convention halls, and stadiums.
Which is interesting because they have like the ESPN and all that. It's not really a stadium, but
no, but that is going to be kind of interesting because now I think that the Orlando Convention Center is outside of Reedy Creek, I think.
It's outside. Yeah, it is. It's over by Universal.
Yeah.
They can continue to operate parks, playgrounds, campsites, and fishing facilities because they do have like Fort Wilderness and stuff, which I've stayed at. It's been years, but I have.
Now, this is a big one. No advertising. Public money raised by the district may no longer be spent to advertise attractions, businesses, and facilities within the district. So Disney always had those big ass signs by the park. Like Tower of Terror and
they also said, though, I mean, I feel bad, though, some of those signs are gone, but they also said that, the problem was that Disney was able to take the money and do that, but it wasn't fair to other theme parks in the area because they were not able to do that.
Right.
The person who presented the bill, which I can't remember the name off the top of my head, they're the ones that pointed that out.
The district retains its own ability to adopt its own planning, zoning, building, and safety codes while clarifying the application of general law to those codes and requiring any building and safety codes to be substantially similar or provide more stringent standards than the Florida Building Code and Florida Fire Prevention Code.
I think that they already did that. I think Disney, I think, would go above and beyond on those codes, usually just for the simple reason that they don't want a lawsuit.
The bill prohibits a person from serving on the district's board. We talked about that.
Yeah, they are relative within the past 3 years have been officer, owner, director, employee, agent, contractor, subcontractor of, or had contractual relationship with a company that owns and operates theme parks. So basically, anybody associated with theme park, even if you're a contractor, if it's been in 3 years, or your relatives or family have worked there, you can't sit on the board because it could be a conflict of interest.
Well, there goes 3/4 of Orlando.
I know, right? Because it's like the biggest employer down there.
I know, right? So that's any theme park though. That's Universal, that's SeaWorld, that's any.
Yeah, any of the ones down there, but that's like most of the area.
So if they vote on it and it becomes law, then they said the changes would come into the Reedy Creek Improvement District starting on June 1st, 2023, when the district was originally set to be dissolved. So this sounds kind of like a compromise. Like
that's what I thought too. It sounds like a compromise to me as well.
But of course, we got some outlets running with the Mickey MAGA thing going on.
I thought that was actually funny. But like you said, it looks like it says photo buy, but it looks like it's one of those, AI photos.
Yeah, so yeah, this whole thing came about though because Disney fooled around and found out they were pushing back against DeSantis on education. Bob Chapek just is a freaking moron. First they're going to be apolitical, then they're going to go all in because the employees are pressuring. The employees in California are pressuring them.
A small, contingent employees who don't even have, most of them didn't even live there. You just have to look at the hands. I'm thinking this is AI. Look, one has a big glove, one has a little glove. I think this might be, like you said, an AI picture.
Yeah, I think it's an AI picture.
But it's just, I think it's a compromise. It comes across to me as a compromise because this way the taxpayers aren't saddled with the burden. The district remains, but Disney can't just have all the autonomy they had before. They can't just decide they're going to put a road in. They can't just decide they're going to add a power plant. They can't just decide they're going to do things. So, I see both sides of the argument. I am worried as a Disney parks goer that it's going to impact the Disney experience. But the flip side is I don't think it's right that Disney gets to do all this other stuff that other places around the area don't get the same rights and opportunities for. Disney has been known to take advantage of things. We know they keep challenging like their property tax assessments to try to get out of paying their fair share of property taxes over and over and over again.
Yeah. They've been abusing the system because originally, Disney World was set up and Walt was going to build a city down there. Epcot was going to be a city, and that's why they kind of put all this into place, and that's not what happened.
Well, it's funny. If you go to my article, there's some Democrats, opponents of the bill, and they're saying things like, there was one, Anna, is it Escamani, said they should rename the district to Disney is the governor's political prisoner, since that's pretty much what the bill does. It's a power grab by DeSantis that allows him to appoint more of his friends to positions of power. Disney still gets perks, but now they're a political prisoner of the government. And another person said that this is DeSantis' version of socialism. I think because they know that word is a dirty word to a lot of the people that are very Republican, and they're trying to say, well, it's the same thing as socialism, but it's not the same thing as socialism.
In this case, I got to tell you, in this case, I think it's different because Disney. You've got the government basically taking back what was.
But should have been controlled.
It should have been controlled by the state anyway, because what happened was Disney got away with having too many parks for too long. They cut some deals to get Disney down there, and again, what it was designed for and what it became were two totally different things. It was supposed to be set up because they were going to create a city down there and all this other stuff, the infrastructure.
Chapek flat out saying, "Hey, we're going to use all our money and power to get you people removed," and it's like. Of course they're going to be like, hell no, you don't get to dictate the legislature of the state. It's by the voters and by who's put in office and that kind of stuff.
It's like you're not the Vatican, you're not your own. It's like you are a theme park. You're a theme park. Know your place, Disney. And that's
the socialism thing is a bit ridiculous. This isn't like socialism. However, if you wanted to go there, we can go there for a moment. I would argue that a lot of the tax money that Disney isn't paying for their fair share of property taxes would go to fund programs that their taxpayer funded programs that would be more in line with socialism because they benefit the greater good. They benefit the taxpayers and the underprivileged and things like that, and they don't have to pay it because they keep taking and spending all the money they would pay on taxes for lawyers to fight paying those taxes in the first place. So, if you really want to go with the socialism angle, I could argue that Disney is actually stopping socialism and stopping the help for the greater good by not paying their fair share.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good point. Disney has, again, I believe, taken unfair advantage of the situation for decades. And, so it's, here's the thing with Disney, it is kind of going to be a death by 1,000
Yes.
cuts because they've got this, board battle coming up with Nelson Peltz.
The voting meeting for that's April 3rd.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Peltz is an activist investor, not activist in like this guy's actually more right-wing, I think, but he's basically like, Disney has got some major problems.
Disney does have major problems.
Yep, he said they're overextended. They've spent money foolishly,
which
and
we pointed out for years.
they're not giving investors their dividends, and this company needs to be turned around. And my investment group wants to put either myself or my son on the board to try to have some accountability.
Well, I don't necessarily think they're the right choice to be on the board.
No,
I don't disagree with all their points.
No,
they have a lot of valid points.
So now shareholders have to vote whether or not Disney has to give up a board seat to Peltz.
I'm interested come when the stock market opens to see what Disney stock does today, because we have the Reedy Creek announcement, which is that could take a lot of power from Disney and tie their hands, and they have to go through a lot of more red tape to do things, which that is a downside for those who want new attractions and stuff. It's going to be a lot harder, but Universal and SeaWorld do it all the time, know. And I think also because the announcement of this meeting that's come up, the voting meeting, those might work to drop the stocks.
Yeah. So anyway, we're gonna wrap this up. It's gonna be really interesting. It's gonna be a really interesting year for Disney.
We're gonna stay tuned, and we're gonna get our popcorn ready.
Get popcorn ready, guys. All right. So we're gonna wrap it up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.
Bye.